It's Edge Radio Australia. It is time for the big return of the one thing. I'll tell you what, the excitement in this room is just palpable.
Palpable. I was going to say palpable.
Look at that. Jigs, baby. We're away.
We're pinging here.
We are pinging. This is a good start. It could be
ping together.
I was like, what is pinging? Is this something we should have talked about beforehand? Or?
Yeah, exactly. We might need a psychiatrist by the end of this show, but we're going to start by talking about sleep. And gee, look, I'm going to throw straight to you, if I may, Lisa. Would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, I really would.
Fantastic.
So, Leanne, I think Leanne and Aaron, we did, 24 episodes of the one thing. And we just had so much fun. And we didn't have the video. So this is very new, doing it on the whole video thing. I even had to put a brush through my hair today.
Me too. I spent hair and makeup, just hours.
Which is a little bit different, but here we are. So we've relaunched the one thing. And each week we're going to be bringing a topic that is a hot topic, something that we believe is, well, actually, it's not even so much something that we believe. It's we want to be able to give other people the opportunity to come in and talk about what they're passionate about and what is meaningful to them and what they are an expert in. Having said all of that, one of the things that I really wanted to bring to the show when we were doing our last lot of episodes was sleep. And the reason that I wanted to do that was because about 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And now I sleep with a CPAP machine. It's absolutely changed my life. And I had no idea how much I was struggling. And I believe there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with the lack of sleep, but have no idea that they have sleep apnea. So I actually reached out to Dean, who's one of the owners of District 32, and asked him if he could please recommend somebody that was able to sleep, was able to
sleep if you want, easy,
Yeah.
was able to sleep on this subject.
Set your standards a little high. Okay, just that.
Was able to speak on this subject. And he's introduced me to Jamie Lee Spencer, who I have sitting next to me. Actually, didn't even do an proper introduction to Leanne Jones.
It's okay. I'm here in the corner. The naughty corner.
Just
The
where you
naughty
belong. Yes.
So just before I go to Jamie Lee, I really should pay Leanne the courtesy of Leanne, over to you. Do it like we used to do it without these
No, that's
these
okay.
cameras.
Let's just
How are you?
Straight back into Jamie Lee, I reckon. Let's put her. She's in the hot seat.
Yeah,
Well,
in the hot
she is
seat.
in the hot seat. But before we go back to Jamie Lee, tell me how you enjoyed your couple of month break that we just
It was
had.
really good. Enjoyed it, yes. And you, Lisa, because you had a bigger
I was the one that called
adventure.
it. Yes, I'll admit that I called the break. And yes, I moved house. I moved back from 2J. I started.
The place you're now living is called a sanitarium. Is that correct?
It's an over 55s lifestyle.
Just checking. Okay,
Thank you, Aaron.
The sad part is I could probably get the one next to you. I'm that old now.
No.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness, we would have so much fun.
Oh,
We really,
I checked
really
it out.
would.
I'm telling you right now, like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I
Yeah.
can't wait till I'm 20, 30 years away from being able to move into that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, radio.
This one or not?
It's an over
Leave it
55.
alone,
Yeah,
Jamie.
okay. Oh no.
I'm going to get invited back, probably not.
So this is the first time that I've actually met Jamie Lee today. She doesn't mind whether you call her Jamie Lee or whether you call her Jamie. And we had a very long telephone conversation in the last week or so. And I was absolutely fascinated to hear her background. So rather than me let everybody know what this young lady has achieved, I would like to just throw over to you, Jamie, if you can let everybody know why you're so passionate about this subject yourself and what your expertise is.
Oh, wow. It's like throwback. Where do we go? Do we go back to childhood trauma or do we kind of
Start from the beginning. We've got a while.
Okay. I guess growing up, I really struggled with school. A lot of the time, like I was seeing psychiatrists, counselors from probably the age of 5. And, it was always related back to, oh, it's through your parents' divorce, this is why she's acting up or things like that. And I could just, it was like the way that I was learning, I just couldn't do it and you'd get frustrated and then you'd misbehave. Okay. And it's taken me a long time to kind of understand where that all fits in now. But you know, it was really hard because a lot of those times growing, or probably until the last 4 years, it was always like, I'm never going to be able to get that, or I'm never going to be there, or I can't understand those things. That's when I did have a big shift. I decided to go to uni.
Okay.
Now I did.
That's huge.
Well, I grew up in Kelmscott. I went to Kelmscott Senior High School.
Yep.
I was asked to leave in year 11 because I was not doing anything.
You were that special.
Yeah, I was that
Oh,
special that
how
they.
good's that? Yeah.
You are so amazing, Jamie. You need to get out there. No, it was pretty much like your daughter is bringing down the grades of everyone else.
Right.
You guys need to get out. Like,
But school's not all it's cut out to be. Come on, really. What did we learn at school? Algebra and how to write our name.
Did you learn algebra?
oh,
Oh,
yeah, no,
apparently.
didn't even get that.
Yeah. I've been adding letters for years. It works really well.
I don't know what.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah.
Jamie, can I just ask, was this a private school or a public school?
Oh, public. This is.
A
Kelmscott
public
High.
school?
Private?
A
No.
public
Is it- it's
said you
Third
were
Avenue,
bringing.
Third-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know,
it is.
everybody knows Kelmscott.
Yeah,
Kelmscott
I'm like,
High
can I
is
say
the
that on here?
Animal
You
high
were
school, isn't
bringing
it?
their grades
Yeah.
down.
It is.
Kelmscott High School is
mm.
the animal high school, not Gosnell's animal.
Right. Okay,
Kelmscott
okay,
animal,
okay.
real animals.
Like Guantanamo Bay kind
Yes.
of level? Yeah.
Yep.
right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right.
It was. It taught me a lot of life skills.
I bet it did.
Absolutely.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that they said that you were bringing people's grades down.
Oh, there was actually quite a big group of us that kind of got put in there. So for some reason, they actually thought they had a very maybe they did have really high grades with other people, but it wasn't with me. So I left school. Yeah, kind of mucked around for a little bit, and then I got to the point where my sister, who did go to the private school, she got to go to St. Bridget's after mum
No
realised.
issues.
Oh, no.
No, after mum realised, you know what, that didn't work out for her, so maybe we'll send her up there.
You were the practice kid. I
Yep,
get that. Yeah.
absolutely.
I had a
Don't
similar
worry, I went to St.
situation
Bridget's,
with my
wasn't that
sister.
great? I'm in Les Moody,
I was
so
gonna say,
yeah.
there's a name there. There's a name for it.
St. Piglet.
Yeah. So she went to university, and I was like, this is kind of cool.
Right.
I was like, if she could do it, maybe I could do it. I did a degree in oral health therapy, probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. No matter how much I studied or how much work I put into it, I was still the P is going to get the degree. So it was, constantly trying to, I was putting in all this effort, but getting very average results.
Right.
Anyways, got through that. It was amazing. So I guess background on that, an oral health therapist. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
You got really nice teeth too. I was just looking at them. As soon as you went, oral health therapist,
Oh, we all did
I
it.
went,
We all did it.
oh, she's got really
Yeah.
good teeth.
Actually, I think it would be good for the benefit of our listeners for you to explain exactly what that is, Jamie.
Yeah, I think it would as well, because it's it is actually quite a hot topic for us at the moment, is that our profession's been around for probably about, don't quote me on this, but about 20 years or something.
Okay.
And the amount of the community that has no idea what an oral health therapist is.
Right.
It's
Okay.
quite hard for us when we're in practice, because again, it's a 3-year uni degree. You are literally a slave for 3 years, where you are there 9 till 5.
Right.
It's very hard work, yet you're still not really recognized by your peers or people around you. When you say I'm an oral health therapist, they don't know who you are.
You are there, you are where?
As in,
You just said you are there for 3 years. I see you're doing a uni for 3 years.
So it's
Okay.
like very intense. Like you can't have a job or anything like that.
Right.
So
Okay.
you're in there. It's not like
Mhm.
my stepbrother who did media or marketing and went to 2 shoots a week.
That's all you need with media.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Oh,
In
now
fact-
you're telling all the secrets.
Oh,
Yeah.
Norfolk Hotel. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So it was very hard. But what an oral health therapist is that we are kind of your front line of oral health prevention. Obviously, we can also do active treatment, which can look like, your dental hygiene appointments. When you get the therapist at the school dental,
Yep.
you used to see, that's what we can do as well.
Okay. So what is different to normal dentistry, basically?
Dentistry is that they do a lot more restorative kind of
Okay.
treatment. So,
Right.
when you come in and you need a really big filling,
Yep.
something like that, crowns, implants, like that's where our limitations kind of stop.
Gotcha.
Whereas, we're able to, we can do simple restorations on adults, things like that. You can extend your scope, pulling out teeth, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So we're more
So,
in that
Gotcha.
preventative.
You're the pit stop rather than going in for a full service.
Yes. Yep. So everywhere works differently, but
Yep.
I mean, normally we're the ones that are telling you to brush, floss, the one that will clean your teeth, the ones that really sit down and explain everything as well, like the why is it here. So that's kind of, does that give everyone a bit of a better understanding?
It does.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, with this conversation, I'm wondering, you've gone from teeth to sleep. It's a strange progression. Okay.
Oh, I love this.
It seems to be anyway.
It is. I think one of the things I worked out pretty quickly was that, the oral mouth, like the oral cavity, it's the gateway into the whole entire body, right?
Oh, of course.
So it's the first point of contact, same with your nose, that we get external things and put them inside our body. So the foundation, like your oral health, is pretty much the foundation for the rest of your body and breathing. They're the two one, like you think about it, you breathe the air in.
Yep.
And if you take it back to the basics as well, when we're babies, we suckle, don't we?
Yep.
So that's the first experience that we have as well with suckling and tasting and
all
I think
of that
like
stuff. You think about it, what's the first thing that the doctors want to hear when your child's born?
Cry.
That, and to take that breath in, that first breath. It's huge.
Yep.
So I guess how it kind of leads into sleep is that I was very fortunate to get in front of someone that is an absolute expert in this field, and I know she will change the world. Dr. Cherie Lim, and she had a very big passion for kind of sleep disordered breathing, the way that the mouth develops. But she's, I guess, a lot like me but why is this happening?
Sure.
So her husband was snoring all the time. Yes, he got an appliance, but it was still like, but why is he snoring?
Yep.
Why is his jaw developed like that? Why is his body not functioning, or what caused it to get to this point?
Oh, I've got some questions for you.
Yeah. So maybe that's what we can go into questions, because it's really good. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we can go to kids kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I've had an operation called a 𝐸PPP.
Mm-hmm.
Which most people don't think it's like somewhere near Kazakhstan, right? No one knows what a 𝐸PPP is.
No.
Basically, it's renovation of the back of your throat, a bit of a rescue.
Yes.
So they cut the back of your soft palate out. It's just, it's not fun. It's not.
Wow.
Is that why you've got a radio voice?
No, I had a better voice before.
Oh, did you? Okay, all right.
Actually, it was really terrifying at the time because, it was genuinely terrifying because they said that this will change your voice, right? So I used to have a lot more scope and a lot more range.
Yeah.
And they
you were an opera singer before.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I used to be able to. Well, okay, a little scene, sort of a little bit behind the scenes, if you like. So for radio stations, sometimes I'd actually go and do different accents and different voices and that sort of stuff, right? So people didn't know, but I could be on 3 different stations at once. And
wow.
So that was great until I had the operation. And when I had the op, they said to me, "Look, just understand that you may come out of this sounding like Pee Wee Herman."
Oh no!
Right? Like it's possible that you will let you change your voice that much. Wow. So I had to really contemplate it. And long story short, it did change my voice. I lost that range. Pee Wee got left alone, which is great. I'm happy with that, and I was able to continue my career. But I don't have the range anymore, and it put a lot more sort of gravel.
So why did you have to have that done in the first place?
Because my ex-wife, basically.
We won't go down that way.
No, we're just simply the pressure of I was really bad snorer.
Yeah.
And that was sort of
Oh, so that was to help with your snoring.
Yeah. Well, I used to do this quiet little thing, like just die during the night. No big deal. Like, just,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd stop breathing.
Yep.
Small details.
Yeah.
Wow. So they considered it to be bad enough that they said it was very severe. So for that reason, I was lacking oxygen. It was very, very, very dangerous.
Wow.
So have it or die.
So is that sleep apnea?
Of sorts. Well,
absolutely. Yeah, because it's literally you're having an episode where you can't breathe.
Yep.
So why would they have not put you on a CPAP machine?
More money in the surgery? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We believe doctors.
It wasn't given to me as an option. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Do you snore now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I just dream on my Harley Davidson.
So it didn't work.
Didn't work at all. But
okay.
Changed me.
I think that's a really good actual point to bring up, right? Because when we look at a lot of when you look at the mouth and everything that kind of comes together, like if we go down the road of braces, so yes, braces will straighten your teeth, especially as kids. The teeth are, they're not straight. Let's fix them.
Yep.
However, is that getting to the root cause of why the teeth were crooked in the first place?
Yeah.
No. So it's again we can have solutions to a lot of the problems that people present us,
Sure.
but we're not necessarily really getting down to the why and the cause and changing that.
Because a lot of people have issues with the shape of their jaw, which causes the teeth to be an issue, right? Which
Yep.
is something I didn't know anything about. I know someone who gets physio, I think, and massage on the.
Well, it just depends. You can do a lot of things. So again, like you can have, if you do teeth grinding and things like that, they can definitely, massage the muscles in there.
Right.
Again, is that really like
Bowen therapy, TMJ.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it's kind of, again, like it will help. It's an active treatment, but it's still like, why is it happening?
So what are the causes that cause this sort of things?
That's actually how can I go down the rabbit hole?
Just dig away.
I reckon, yes.
We're on Edge Radio.
Yeah, let's just go down.
We're allowed rabbit holes
so
here.
like we can go right back to, the moment of birth and the way, breastfeeding and latching and things like that. If you've got a tongue tie, how is your tongue meant to sit at the roof of your mouth when the roof of the mouth's forming between, the ages of 0 and around 8?
What is a tongue tie?
A tongue's when the tongue's is limited to the range of motion.
Okay.
So, you can have like quite a severe one that I guess a lot of pediatricians, they'll see it and go, oh, that is a tongue tie. But there's a lot more than just going, sticking it out and seeing if they've got a range.
Okay.
So you want to see it in function. So a lot of the time, if you're not if babies aren't able to latch properly, what's kind of, what you hear a lot of is the nurse goes, well, maybe you just need to go to the bottle. Okay.
I think a lot of women hear that.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I don't have kids, so I can't really comment on this. But it can be easier. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's also ways in which the child, when they're born, and I've heard this from a couple of midwives, is there's a thing called the crawl. And when a baby is born, they are put on the tummy and they're allowed to crawl so that they find their own way to the breast instead of being forced to the breast, because then the baby has its own innate intelligence to actually latch.
I don't know. In 50 odd years, I've
takes
never
like
had
an
to be forced.
half an hour process, and the cord's not cut.
Really?
That would be very. I have not.
Wow.
Oh.
I've never heard that one.
That sounds great.
That's really
It's
interesting.
because that's what you kind of you want to kind of see, and I guess where that all comes from is that with the jaws, they are bones that they don't really fully fuse until we're a lot older. Okay. So in those really formative years, how you flatten the roof of the mouth or like up here is by able to have that tongue rest at the top of the mouth. So when we're sitting here like this and breathing with your mouth closed, your tongue should rest at the roof of your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not, then it's not in that correct function. So if you kind of put it down and go, can you see how much harder it is to breathe?
We're all doing it.
Yeah, I know. Is everyone doing it?
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to breathe.
I've never even been conscious of that before now.
That's why when you're doing meditations and stuff, Lise, they say, your tongue's at the roof of your mouth, take the breath in, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We're starting right at birth here. What about dummies?
Yes. So that is a really common, and I guess that's kind of where I was able to create a very successful business because I found that, there's a huge thing with them. Look, there's some evidence to say like where we're at the moment is, it is okay for maybe up until about 12 months because it is nurturing for them. Okay. We understand that. After 12 months, so, they should be able to kind of regulate a little bit there. But after 12 months, it becomes a very habit. And again, when that's constantly sucking, you're going like, we're all going to do it now, is you're pulling the muscles backwards. You're overstrenuating.
So I was a
around
dummy.
here.
I had a dummy as a kid, and then that got taken away from me. And then I started with my thumb.
Really?
Yeah.
Pop my thumb in my mouth. Yeah.
There you go. I had one of my kids was very keen on the dummy, far too long. And I actually did, the horrible father thing. I took the scissors to them because I just cut them so that she would stop using them because she would hide them. She'd do all sorts. They became so obsessed with them. But they're not, to me.
It's an addiction too,
it's
isn't
an
it?
addiction. And also the fact that it's pulling their front teeth forward.
That's exactly right.
That's where I was concerned.
So it is. It's that sucking motion. So when we suck, that's when you start to see the jaws pull back, the neck pull back. those kind of, and that's restricting the airway there. So whereas what we want is that really nice nasal breathing where at rest they can just rest that tongue at the roof of the mouth, and that's what's helping kind of apply that pressure to flatten it out so it's a nice U shape.
Okay.
Rather,
okay.
yeah, you're getting the big high arches.
And what
Rather-
about those adults that never lose their baby teeth?
Oh, that's not really my
So
thing.
that's like a hereditary thing in our family, my husband and
Is
my
that right?
son. Yeah.
Wow, it's one set.
Like it can be. To be
Certain
honest,
amount.
I'm like, I haven't really explored it. It's not really my,
Niche, yeah, that's okay.
I would even say interest. Like, that's definitely where, you've got dentists that, love that stuff because
Yeah,
they know
yeah.
you're going to
So he had
implant.
his teeth, and teeth pulled, my son, at 19, and then had braces.
Yeah. So yeah, and you can kind of that's a lot. By then the
But now he has to wear a
functions.
retainer all the
Yeah.
time and blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Can I just ask a question? Lisa, you can see the screen there, hopefully better than I can. We've got some comments coming in, and I've just popped one up on the screen. If you could read that from...
Yeah, it's not actually relevant to what we're doing here
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
Okay.
So it's about the misinformation bill.
Well, look, it is an important subject, but yeah, obviously, not what we're talking about today, but
Having
is-
seen Joel's clip about the misinformation bill impact on the light, perhaps we could ask a couple of comedians to the same on some of their. My eyes aren't the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Obviously, today's on a different subject, but that is a very important one.
And
we want to
and Robin has said greetings.
Hello, Robin.
Hello,
Great. Yeah,
Robin.
Hey,
fantastic.
Robin.
Great. And the other message was from Catherine. Is that right?
That was the one you just had up.
Yep. The other one
Yeah.
was, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Bring your questions forward, though, or any comments. We'd love to hear them
Yes.
and comment on those as we go. Beautiful.
Can I ask,
Yes.
Jamie? You were referring to your successful business. Can you tell us about your business?
I can tell you about it. What I did was create a mobile dental service for children.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
Where I actually went into the childcare centres. So, again, getting back to that why, I was like, let's just start right at the beginning.
Yep.
And it was very unique. It was one of the first ones in WA. I seen over 1,000 kids.
That's a lot of kids.
It was. And, became quite a household name. How I kind of got that to be quite successful. So if I went in and said, hey guys, I'm here to do a dental check on the kids. Why does my child need that? They've only got one tooth.
Yeah.
Okay. It was then kind of me going back and going, wait, why do I actually want to see these kids? And again, I want to know if the kid mouth breathes, if they're waking multiple times a night, if they're fussy eating, if they've got bottles, if they've got dummies, if they're still bedwetting, they've got speech issues, because all of that is related to the mouth and breathing.
Of course it is. Yeah.
And we're coming in and seeing this we're seeing them every 6 months.
Because I tend to think, okay, when people think about mouths, we go straight away think about teeth, right? Straight to the old dentist. So yeah, that's a really good point. This is the intake for your entire body. This is where the food goes, the oxygen goes, the drinks go, every nutrient you're getting pretty much you're putting through there.
Yep.
Like it's a fuel, right? So why not look after the part of your body that's looking after you, I guess.
I think that's just made that's just given me a realization right there. I think, when we think about mouth, we always go to the teeth.
Yeah.
The teeth are there to function, to cut food and things for us. But what about the rest of the mouth? There is so many muscles in there. There's so many functions that it does. It helps us speak. It helps us smile. It helps us breathe. It helps us communicate. Yet, really, we don't have someone that's in that field of going, all right, let's look at that specifically.
What about ear, nose, and throat specialist?
Fantastic.
What's how does that work? How does that?
So I guess that's where with the childcare centre kind of thing, what it was is that I would go in there and you walk around and you see kids that are just low tongue posture, mouth breathing.
Right.
So even if you mouth breathe for a bit, you can see the difference on how much effort it takes to do that.
Okay.
When we're mouth breathing, we're not filtering the bacteria from the air. Okay, that's what our nose is designed to do.
Good point.
Childcare centre, your kids are sick. What's always happening? Their noses are blocked.
Yeah.
So the body, it's not silly. If you can't breathe through your nose, it's not going to shut down and go, you're going to die. It's going to find another way to do this. So it
Because
just
when you were
doesn't.
saying mouth breather before, I was thinking to myself, like, I mean, it's just not a term I hear a lot unless we use it for an insult. But I get it. I mean, especially with kids, daycare centers. I mean, everyone's got the flu, right? It's just basically a petri dish, right? The whole place.
Absolutely.
So kids are always having to breathe through their mouth because the nose is blocked.
Yeah.
So yeah. I can understand. Then they run, they get exercise, they pant.
Which is good.
And
And
you don't think about.
it is, yeah. And that's the thing, because you kind of start to see the big, like even, I mean, I don't have study notes or anything or like actual results, but
Sure.
I do feel now the teeth, well, actually, yeah, the jaws are smaller.
Okay.
Like, you know, kids, our mouths aren't developed like they
Of course.
used to be. And it's because our environments are changing.
Oh, well, hang on. I thought you were just saying they're smaller because they're children.
Well,
no, they're
no,
what,
well,
Because you think,
standardly,
yeah,
yeah.
standardly, like you look
Really?
at the jaw structure and you can see that in a lot of, you know, clips online and stuff, you know, how they used to be. Like, even if you look at the Indigenous, their jaws are like perfectly shaped.
right.
And it's because, you know, and you look at their noses, they're fantastic for breathing
Gotcha.
through their nose. So they've got a very good function there.
Yep.
However, because our environment's changed so much, one, we're having softer foods as kids.
Yep.
We're not having to chew as much. You know, again, we're sick. They're sick a lot of the time, which means their noses are constantly blocked. And it's like anything. So say if you, you've got an injury with your arm,
Yep.
you start to adapt into different ways
course you do.
to use
Yeah.
other things. And then that kind of loses its function
So true.
unless you go and have therapy or physio or something like that to rehab it.
Stop it.
So I think
Not just put
is
it in
that
a
kind
sling.
of, we're all getting on it. Yeah, we're kind of losing a little bit, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of when
But
I
that's
went
okay,
into
we can lose it.
yeah,
it's
when I
Radio
went into the
Australia.
childcare centres, that was my main objective, was to educate parents
So
on
You're specializing in kids?
no,
No?
no, like just general oral health
Okay.
therapist with a passion, and had lots and lots of just like I'm a big networker, so like
Right.
I love to meet people
Yep.
and find what they do, and then it's kind of putting them into, all right, that person fits really well there. And I guess that's where the ENT comes. I kind of created it so that I was a triage. So
Right.
I would find all the problems that were going on and then, you know, help them navigate, all right, well, this is why you probably need to see an ENT rather than a GP.
ENT.
Yeah, ear, nose and throat.
Okay.
Yeah. Rather than going to a GP and they go, oh, this is going on, you need to see an ENT. Yeah, but why? You get to the ENT, you're like, this is costing money. I don't really know why I'm here. I wanted to make sure that the families were really informed. So when
Okay.
they were going there, they knew exactly.
Hey, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
So that's your current business as well?
No.
No.
That business is wrapped up in a Supreme Court legal action, I guess, at the moment. So I'll probably just have to leave it at that.
Okay.
You
Yep.
walk away from that for the moment?
So
But
yeah.
before we move on to your next
Mm.
business, one of the things that I
Yeah.
really wanted to dive into today, Jamie, was
Yeah.
how passionate you are about children not being diagnosed with things such as autism and ADHD
Mm,
until such time as they've had their sleep issues looked at. So can you
absolutely.
tell us why you're so passionate about that?
Yeah, I can definitely. That's kind of, where it all kind of interlinks, is that, you know, when you look at screening for ADHD in a child, right? It's a child that can't concentrate, difficulties learning, is hyperactive, seems overtired,
Yep.
you know, they're difficult in managing behavior, emotional regulation. When you look at all those things, what do you do when you're tired?
What do you do in
Everything
your time?
you've just listed there? Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you're restless, you're short. You know, as adults, we can communicate. I'm tired. That's why I've just I've said, what, you know, you've had an argument with your partner. That's why.
Why
we
I'm
can,
so grumpy. Yeah.
as a child, what do you're still learning those skills.
Sure.
And it's quite frustrating if you're super tired and you're looking around and all those other kids are getting it straight away and the teacher's going, you're just not getting this. You're not concentrating. Sit here, look at it.
Yep.
Of course you're going to have a different kind of reaction. So where that kind of came into it was like, I was like, I just couldn't see how that, with the ADHD, how was no one looking at their airways and sleep first?
Mm.
Okay, we've got a huge waiting list for people to go on an ADHD assessment and, you know, all of that kind of thing.
Right.
But, you know, I'm still talking to parents and they're like, oh, we're on a wait list for that. But hang on, I've seen them. I seen patient the other day where he's 7, he's bedwetting. I could see as soon as they walk through the door, I know.
Right.
Like you can see them walking in the street. Big dark circles under his eyes, gets around like this, cannot seal his lips because his jaw's in that kind of position.
Okay.
You can just like there's no, he's tired. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. What's going on?
Kid should not be tired at that
That's it.
time. And I'm going to throw this out. I am a bit angry actually about how quickly doctors go,
yeah.
oh,
I was just about to
ADHD,
say that.
ADD. Oh, throw some
Yeah.
letters at the kid and throw some drugs at the kid.
And a label that's going to carry them through life.
Exactly. And we had a bit of a joke before we went on air about, we've got interesting bunch here, Edge, of all different personalities, right? And we love to tease each other. I think that's the Aussie way.
Yeah.
Right? But like, how easy is it for people to live that label? We threw them around as a bit of a joke to adults. But if you're talking to a child and you're saying, oh, you've got this, that kid becomes that perception of what you just told. And you as an adult have that authority. So you're telling a child that, they're going to live it. They're going to own it.
Absolutely.
And which is a really sad thing. In my eyes.
Whereas when we were growing up as children, kids like that, they were told to, just go for a run, or if they had too much energy, go for a run, or here, take the pillow, go and have a sleep in the corner.
Oh,
we used to have sleep corners.
If I was
whereas now, as soon as it's something like that comes up, it's like, oh, we might need to get this. All right, there's something going on.
I need an assessment.
I need an assessment.
If I was a child today, I would be so full of drugs because they would just they go, oh, ADHD or whatever it happens to be. No, I was just a little shit. Right, I had a lot of energy. I had a lot of things. I wanted to climb this. I wanted to jump that. I wanted, I had a lot of things I wanted
drive
to
this.
get done. Drive this, drive anything, And I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy with that personality. It's gotten me to where I am in life, I guess. And I don't think it's something I wanted stifled. Now, if I lived now, as far as I'm still alive, but if I lived as a child now,
yes,
they would take me in there and just go fill them up with drugs.
Yeah.
When really, what they should have been doing is making a medal for my mother. That's all.
Yeah.
And that comes back down to what you said before, where it was what's the underlying cause, right?
Yep.
We'll give them a pill. That's just masking a symptom. That's not doing anything for a cause.
That's it. And it's, you'll get I have 100% I have ADHD. I don't even see my psychiatrist. It's just a script that gets sent out,
Really?
Or it's in 45-minute session.
Yeah.
There's no it's just going, are you taking things responsibly? Like, how are you feeling? So I just don't understand how that helps you empower what your label is.
So
as
is
well.
it okay to ask you about your ADHD?
Yes.
So you were diagnosed as an adult?
Yes. I'll probably get I'll get really quite vulnerable. So through, I'd always, had my shit together.
Yep.
I had good jobs, I was always there, but I was impulsive. Okay. And then it got to the point where, the partying and the drinking and, the other things that come with that, I was like, this is not the person I want to be. So I was very fortunate at one point. Yeah. My mum was like, I think this was when I was 30 or 29, 28. She took me.
Are you that old already? I'm thinking she's about 26.
No, oh my God, you're my best friend. 34. 34.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But it was, and she took me to because again, they're like, maybe we should go and see a counselor. I'm like, Mum, doesn't work. It hasn't worked for 30 years. Went to a place called a Brain Wellness Centre. I did 2 years there with some kind of different stuff.
Okay.
What was the relevance of your mum not working? Sorry, what did I miss?
The counsellor's not working. Psychiatrists, that's where they always go, because that's what everyone knows. All right, you're not well. There's something going on. It's obviously not physical, it's mental. So go back to doing something like that. And I'm like, but we've tried that and it doesn't work.
So your mum was worried about you partying out of control?
Yeah, I reached out to her, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was very self-aware.
Yeah.
So what does partying out of control look like? Is that taking drugs or taking alcohol or?
Yeah, so it's drinking. It's
to
I said, yeah, well, on the weekends, right? And so many people I know
that
still
was
do
me
this.
back in the day too.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s.
So what's the difference between
90s,
having an
40s.
alcohol addiction and ADHD if you're partying hard?
Well, I think from my perspective is that I knew that I didn't want to be doing it because I have these big dreams and aspirations of what I wanted to be doing, right?
Can I ask you this?
Yes.
Was it self-medicating?
Yes. And I think a lot of it was also connection,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Now, hang on. Connection in what
Mm.
respect?
You know,
Because you're doing something with someone, you've got that.
you get a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
yeah,
When you're drunk, when
Yep.
you're under the influence of everything, you
Yep.
actually, yeah,
you open
you
up.
open up to
Mm.
people.
So
Yeah.
your
But it's-
inhibitions are less. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. So yeah, you're kind of seeking that connection, but then you've got your other self sitting there going, this is not sustainable. Like it's not making you happy every other day. And then I get like we were doing a lot of work. So where I would meditate before the weekends, I would make sure I'd have every plan. So like we went through plans so that
Okay.
because I really just didn't want to drink. I didn't like it.
Right.
I really don't. But it was this impulsiveness. And then it got to 2 years of us doing that. And Lena was like, look, I probably shouldn't even been telling you this because like we're all about this wellness and holistic. She was like, but I actually think you've got ADHD. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
So then I did get diagnosed. And ever since then, like I don't drink. And
So
I
they
created the business.
diagnose it based on symptoms, don't they? Like there's no blood test or anything.
No. And I think that's where a lot of people that's where I think I am quite lucky where I can sit and go 100%. Like I do take medication and
Mhm.
it works for me at the
I
moment.
love the fact that you own it. Right?
Yeah.
So many people just go and just lie about it.
Yeah, no, God, no.
Yeah. Look, it's just if you feel it does it improve your life?
Yeah,
There
100%.
you
Like
go.
that's where I
There you
started the
go.
business.
Great.
I
Yeah.
quit drinking. Like it
Right.
literally improved my life. Is there other people that I know that doesn't work for them?
Mhm.
And absolutely.
Because I'm absolutely against it, right? Like
Yeah.
I really am. I see them giving these kids
Yeah.
these drugs really young. And I watch these children's personalities disappear. But it's like anything. It's about using it correctly, right?
Yeah.
So if
If you're an adult, you can make that choice. but
Yeah,
as a
that's
child, you
right.
can't.
I think
That's
that's
Well,
the
exactly
difference.
some adults can't.
that's a
Can't-
great point. Actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Like I know adults that look, and I won't give you the amounts because I don't know what's normal and what's not, but taking an awful lot of what they call Dexies,
Yeah,
because one doesn't become enough. So I guess that's just abusing it.
absolutely. And I think I like a lot of people are like, I think I've got ADHD. And then they'll go, well, ask Jamie because I can see her take this many tablets and an hour later she'll be asleep.
Right.
Like I don't get side effects and I sleep very well. So it was like a big, there's a lot of different ways with it, but kind of coming back to all of that, like what it has empowered me. It definitely gave me that superpower,
Okay.
in to be able to get my stuff together. So that was kind of my journey with ADHD. I wouldn't change it though. Like if I had a magic wand, I had to go back to the, when I was like 5 or 6 and going through that, and they
Okay.
actually went through it and were like, you know what, your dad, there's a lot going on there. I can understand why.
Sure.
I do believe genetics do play some part of it, especially when it comes to, children and even that kind of the conception phase. Like we put a lot of pressure on an unborn child.
Oh,
How
so
much is
true.
it? If I just have this child, everything's going to be better.
No
I just
Band-Aid
want them to
kids, the worst thing you can do.
Like it's
There's
a lot.
There's a lot of stuff that that comes up with when you're older, that comes through from birth,
Mhm.
from conception, from all of that sort of stuff, from pre-7, right?
Mm.
But one of those things which I found really interesting was your birth order as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Are
really
you a
interesting.
middle child?
No, I'm an older. No,
Yeah. So
Oh,
often,
that's right. You're a practice child.
yeah.
That's right.
I'm the problem.
Sometimes it's you might be the 5th born, and mum and dad have got financial issues
Mhm.
and relationship issues
Sure.
because you're the 5th child, right?
Mm.
And so that's being fed to this baby
Yeah.
that then comes to the world not knowing that
That's it.
that all these traumas exist already in their
What's
body.
the
That's a great
energy
point.
that's around? Like what I think it's like 80% of this is where the ADHD things. 80% of your thoughts for the rest of your life happen between 0 and 8. Like
Okay.
that's what's formed, what's going around for you. So if you're under diagnosis or you're going through testing for autism, you're going testing for ADHD between those ages,
Yep.
you can imagine all those thoughts, everything's happening. There's something wrong with my child. We have to go to this doctor. We have to do that. That's what they're going to be repeating in
yeah.
their head. That's their subconscious that is creating throughout their whole
That's what
life.
you're building, isn't it?
So when because often I think these days if a child is going to be diagnosed with, I'll just use ADHD
Yeah.
or autism as an example, because I think I'd be correct in saying that they're probably the most common ones.
Absolutely.
Often the kids are at daycare. So that's the first person that will actually bring that up. I think, you need to
definitely.
take your child to go and see a GP, and then they get
On the waiting list. Yep.
then they get sent to other places. But what you're saying, Jamie, is that in normal circumstances, nobody actually ever thinks to look at their sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
to be able to change that in and that's what I did in those daycares.
Right.
I went out and I made sure that it was sleep time, and I went into every different room and I talked to the educators. And I said, which of your kids are all those symptoms? And they go, this one, that one. And I'm like, is it possible they could have a sleep disordered breathing? Is it possible there's something, either their tonsils are too large, they've got, blocked nose,
Sure.
they've got a tongue tie.
Yeah.
There's something going on that they can't breathe properly, which means they can't sleep well. That's causing them to behave like this.
So how would they test a child? And it had never occurred to me that children don't sleep well. I guess you just put them to bed and you just assume that,
Yes, all the time.
Well, there's a saying, isn't it? Oh, he slept like a baby, which is a funny saying.
Well, that's where a lot of parents, and that's the common thing. And so you start asking, I was like, boy, they're in there for 12 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can you check? And then they'll start to go, all right, I did listen the other night and I could hear them noisy breathing. Actually, he does wake up in the most unusual positions.
Right.
You're right. He does get up quite a bit for water. Actually, I did notice that, the head's right arch back. And I'm like, they're all kind of signs that the body's going, I'm not breathing
It's
properly.
searching for more air.
Yeah.
So what can you do about that?
There's a lot of things. So I guess in where I was in that particular role, a lot of the time, I could see if the tonsils were huge, you could see if, there was definitely an obstruction. We'd do ENT, and the ENTs, they're very good. Like, they don't want to do surgery if they don't have to.
Right.
Okay. Like, it's not, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a money thing. But we're health professionals. Like, it's completely illegal. We can't do that. Like, you've got to do the good for them. There is ones out there that do it.
Sure.
Absolutely. But that's where, when you align, and that's what it created, alliances with people that I know that generally care.
Yeah. So as you said, you are the connector.
Yeah, that's right.
So you would already have a pre-list of the ones that you would actually recommend, so
Absolutely.
that you know that you're getting the best out of the deal.
Well, that's it. Where to the point I actually went into all of the people that I refer to, and I was like, look, this is what I'm doing.
Yep.
Is this something that aligns? We all need to be on the same roadmap. And that's kind of how then I can go into business, and that's how it's changed.
What is the name of your business?
Elevate Rise.
Okay.
So that's business. Yeah, I'm business strategy coaching. You can call me whatever you want. I make money in your business.
Right. As long as you call me, right?
Yeah. So that kind of, I applied those strategies that someone taught me to create what I did, which was very successful. And I guess when there was an injunction and a court order to say that I wasn't allowed to do what I was doing anymore,
right,
I wasn't able to see those kids. I wasn't allowed to reach out to those daycares. Life gave me a pivot, and this is what it was. So
wow, that's really interesting. And it's like anything, by the sounds of what you do, life gives you a pivot, and then you go all in.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's kind of
100%.
Yeah, well, I mean, when people kind of ask, like, what, once it's all over, will you create another one? I was like, well, no, I'm just going to create thousands of them by teaching people how to do it.
Scale it
that's
up.
really good.
Yep. Yeah. I was like, because that was always my biggest goal, was that, I would love that everyone, our teachers, anyone that's with kids is screening for sleep disordered breathing.
Yep.
There's a checklist. It's really easy to do. Yep.
Okay.
So how do people get hold of the checklist for anyone that's listening or wants to share this information?
It's called the Bears Sleeping Tool. I would have to add it in there. All right. Yep.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just, if you kind of look up, sleep disordered and breathing, it's hard. You Google stuff and it is quite general. I would definitely say, and I mean, I'm not sponsored or anything, but the person that is, the one that shared all of this with me and showed me was Dr. Cherie Lim. Okay. And I'd put her website because she has created that resource.
So are you happy to share that information so that we can add it to our
definitely
channels later on?
Yeah.
Because we want people that are listening to the one thing to get the most value as possible out of the guests that are coming on.
If people did want to get in touch with you on your current business, How would they get hold of you?
They can call me, they can email me, I can put those details in. So that's
Fantastic.
Elevate Rise. So if there's someone kind of wanting to create a very successful business without spending heaps of money, I help them. Yep. Definitely. So
well, that's everybody.
Yeah, that is everybody.
It is.
That's everybody we know
Sounds like I
anyway.
need an appointment.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that's I think, and that's
Walk it in, Eddie.
that's what kind of all of that taught me was that once the injunction was in place, I couldn't afford legal representation. I couldn't afford anything. I had to go back to I do support work
Go back to the basics.
And then I just went back to my basics of my strategies and gone, oh wow, okay, I don't need to spend all this money here or that, and I can redo this with just what I've got.
Martine says fabulous peeps.
Oh,
hi,
fantastic.
Martine.
Hello, Martine.
Hi,
Thank you for the
Martine.
comments coming through. And of course, we can only see them on one feed. And later on, we actually see fantastic. It's really rewarding. You go back later on and you see on all the different feeds, all the different comments. It's fantastic. I love about the questions. The comments, obviously, we can see come through on the Edge Radio Australia page. But the other ones, don't be shy. Get those through and we'll comment away on that one. All right. Can I throw it to Leanne there? Have you got any sort of final thoughts for the show today, and a final question?
No,
perhaps?
I think it's really. I love that when Jamie Lee came on, because there are so many families struggling out there with their children, and I think if they know that this is out there and this is something that I certainly wasn't aware of when my kids were younger, but to be even made aware of it and to be aware that that's there is huge, because. Like my two probably have got ADHD. I mean, they're adults now, but goodness knows what they've got. But they're males, so anything's possible. Yeah. Anything's possible there. But obviously, sleep was a real issue for my younger one. He didn't sleep through the night till he was 8 years old.
Wow.
So
that's a biggie.
Yeah. So really, that I'm thinking back to when I was raising these kids and just dragging them up. Sorry, boys. As you do. If I had this information and I had been aware of some of the things that I could have actually taken action. And I think that's really, really good that we've got this resource now that parents can actually take an action. And thank you, Jamie Lee, for coming in. It's really good.
No,
really
and that's what
enjoyed
like what I always say to parents is I'm like, this, it might not be like 100%. It could still be the other thing.
Yep.
But why don't we look? Let's look at the different options here. Let's explore.
100%.
If you can start getting good quality sleep, even when you're going for an assessment, man, you're going to make everyone's job better.
Yeah,
you're going to get better results. So,
Lisa, any last thoughts or questions at all for Jamie Lee?
Well, sleep is absolutely essential to good health, and it's something that so many of us just don't take into account. And as I said right at the beginning of the show, I had and still have sleep apnea, and I had no idea I had it, and that's why I was tired all the time. And I'm very grateful to the doctor that suggested that I actually be tested for it. And so when I was talking to Jamie Lee and she was mentioning about the children, and it being something that she believed every child should be tested for before they're actually medicated, it just made so much sense. So very, very grateful that you've come on, and I'm quite sure that over the period of time that there will be hundreds and thousands of people listening to the information here. But having said that, if there's one person's life who it changes through listening to this, it will have been worthwhile. So thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Really appreciate all your help. And look, I think perhaps we might even get you back one day to talk about sleep apnea machines as well and that kind of thing.
Yes.
I would love to do it now, but we are so out of time.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it always happens. Yeah.
Always. But I mean, that's great. This is, look, it's a natural, free-flowing conversation.
Cool.
That's how life should be.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Thank you very much for being part of it.
Welcome.
It's Edge Radio Australia. And I'm going to throw to Lisa to say goodbye for the day.
Goodbye. Join us next week. We've got another fabulous hot topic next week.